Now let us discuss what is cyber attacks. So cyber attacks, in the sense, um, it's an attack which can be hacked by hackers, and in this video we'll be seeing that the main two types of cyber attacks. One is man in the middle attack and one is password attack. So coming to self-introduction, I'm DEVIPRASAD, and this is my digital assignment too, and my topic is cyber attacks, and with the two types of attacks. One is man in the middle attack and one is password attack. So now see what is cyber attacks definition. Cyber attacks refers to an action designed to target a computer or any element of a computerized information, such to change or destroy um, or steal a data, as well as exploit a harm a network. Cyber attacks have been one of the ways in the cynic with the uh, designation of business that has been become more and more popular in recent years. Cyber attacks occurs when cyber criminals try to gain illegal access to electronic data stored on a computer or a network. This might be to be inflict reputational damage or harm to business or a person, or thief or a valuable data. Cyber attacks can target individual groups or organizations or governments. So cyber attacks, in the sense, so any interesting fact that we study reveals in that looking at a root cause study of security branches, less than 50% of cases are due to the criminal intent attacks that has been, which is mainly cyber attacks. And the causes being split between three factors: the intent attack, the human error, and the system abilities. When an attack succeeds, it's only partially due to the attacker's skills and knowledge, and also due to the abilities from the victim side. This is faultly programmed, human errors, insufficient level of control to ensure information security. So we will know more about these cyber attacks. Technology is rapidly evolving in the world, driven by social networks, online transactions, cloud computing, and automated process. But within the technological evolution comes the process of cybercrime. Uh, Cybercrime, with continuously develops the new attack types, tools, and techniques that allows attackers to penetrate more complex or well-controlled environments. The produce increased damage and even remain unraisable. The present article aims to get an overview of a cybercrime as it is defined as a revealed by a specialized literature, international um, recogni- uh, nation, and historical facts, and performs an analysis of an attacks reported all around the world over the last 3 years in order to determine patterns and trends in cybercrime. So this may undertake in order to ensure improved security that would support in defining the business from attackers from an information security perspective. So what is cyber attacks impact? What makes it to get impact? With regards to get impact, the cyber attacks have been how upon the victims it is hard. It is impossible to quantify the exact cost that organization requires us for recovering their business customers. Trust and image, especially considering the companies do not always reveal all information to the public. However, the results show that the impact of cyber attacks more often contain loss of information, business disreputation, revenue loss, and equipment damage. The most common types of attacks granted unauthorized access to information comprising of full names, date of birth, personal IDs, full address, medicine records, phone numbers, financial data, email address, credentials, and credentials, since we come to know that username and password, and insurance information. Cyber attacks become more and more of a daily reality for both companies of all sizes as well as single individuals. Yet little is universally known about the cybercrime. So we'll see the first type of attack in this video. It is man in the middle attack. What is to say what is meant by man in the middle attack, in the sense man in the middle attack occurs when an attacker interferes between the two communication ends. Even thus, the message sent from a source A to source B reaches attacker before reaching its destination. The risk further posed by this type of attack composed of unauthorized access to sensitive information of or possibilities to alter the information or messages that reach its destination by the attacker. Here we can here we can see that what it means that when the attacker interferes between the communication ends, in the sense when suppose we have a person A and person with a two persons with a person A and person B, they are communicating. When the hacker who interrupts between them is known as a man in the middle attack. So we can know here it is in user and web application. This is the original connection, uh, but where the man in the middle attack may be a new connector to between them, and um, he knows what user is sharing to web application, not what web application is sharing to user. Suppose we have private key and public key logics here. So this is also one of the man in the middle attack process. So first, the attacker even drops on conversation. P sends a message to P2. P1 sends a message to P2 where suppose we'll think that Alice and Bob. Where Alice sends a message to Bob. Attacker interrupts the message between the peers. Attacker in the sense, let us say Dart. So Dart is interrupting between them and making that process as in man in the middle attack process. The attacker, the step 4 is attacker alters the message, steals info, and etc. So, so what is man in the middle attack? So let us see the detailed explanation. A protocol detected in an insurance against a man in the middle attack. Suppose Alice and Bob wish to exchange keys. Dot is an advisory. The attack proceeds as follows. So as we discussed before by seeing this image, when a message from a source A to source B is being transmitting, the dot is interrupting. So that is called an man in the middle attack. Then attack proceeds. So as in this is an allies and this is allies and dot. Eliza and Bob, where they both are sending a message, and with the attacker, who is known as Dart, coming and interrupting between them is known as man in the middle attack. So let us see the process of generating two public keys between uh, attackers, whether both are Alice and Bob. With Dart prepares for where the attacker is known as Dot. So Dot prepares for the attack by generating the two random keys xd1 in the sense it's an allies private key and allies private keys, and then computing to the corresponding public keys of uh, allies public keys. So allies transmit uh, YA to Bob, in the sense allies transmits public key to Bob. Dot interrupts YA and transmits YD1 to Bob, where no allies transmits a private key to Bob, and where dot interrupts it's a private key and transmits public key to Bob. Dot also calculates that key is equals to YA x power XD2 mod Q. Where Bob receives a public key from that, and that interrupts that he interrupts, and that makes it as in key to that is, and that becomes k uh, k1 is equals to K1 is equals to YD1 or XB mod Q, and where Bob transmits YB2 allies, dot interrupt that YB and transmits YD2 to allies. Dot calculates K1 is equals to YB X bar D1 P mod Q. So when allies receives YD2 and calculates KD, K2 is K2 is equals to YD2 power X bar A mod Q. At this point, Bob and Alice think that they share a secret key, but instead of Bob and Dad shares secret key one and Alice and Dad share secret key two. All future communication between Bob, Alice, and Bob is compressed in the following way. Alice sends an encrypted message, which is an encrypted message, which is key to and the message. Dot interrupts the encrypted message and dot recover and dot decrypts it to recover M. Dot sends Bob Bob encryption message and key one or message key one to encryption where message is any message in the first case. Dot simply wants to adopts adopts the communication without altering in the second case. Dot wants to modify the message going to Bob. The key exchange protocol is invariable to such an attack because it does not authenticate the participants. The willing violent ability can be overcome with because of digital signatures and public key certificates. These topics are explored and so we have that the protocol detected insecure again as the man in the middle attack. Suppose Bob, Eliza, and Bob wish to exchange keys. Dot is an advisory. The dot produced as follows. The purpose of algorithm is to enable two users to securely exchange a key, then can be used for a subsequent encryption of messages. The algorithm itself is limited to exchange of secret values. So this process is also known as DEVI element. So how to detect the man in the middle attack? So man in the middle attack can be difficult to catch, but either the presence does create replace in the same otherwise regular network activity that cyber security professionals and end users can notice. The conventional wisdom is more prevention than the detection. So let us see now what is detection. Let's see what is a detection from what are the three types of detections to get the man in the middle attack detection. So first one is unexpected or repeated disconnections. Unexpected and repeated disconnection. The attackers forcefully disconnect users so they can interrupt the username and password when the user tries to reconnect. By monitoring of or for unexpected or repeated disconnections, you can pinpoint this potentially risk behavior proactively. The next one is strain address in your browser address bar. If anything in the address looks odd even by a little, double click it. It could be an DNS hijack. So the next one is you can log into a public or unsecured Wi-Fi. So be careful, but be careful of what networks you connect to and avoid public Wi-Fi if possible. Attackers can create fake networks with known IDs like local free wireless or some other common name to track people into disconnecting. If you connect to attackers Wi-Fi, they can easily see everything you can send on the network. So this is mostly I think many of them are aware, but still many hijacks has been happening, and they should be get controlled. So and now what? So we should not inspect current Wi-Fi connections and check for malware. Use a network's signified vicinity and monitor network activity. This management attack can be difficult to catch, but their presence does not create a ripples in the otherwise regular network activity that cybersecurity professionals and end users can notice. So now let's see what how to prevent and man in the middle attack. So let's say the process. So here are the several best practices to protect you and your network from man in the middle attack, and none of them are 100% foolproof. One can connect to secure Wi-Fi routers or use your wireless carrier and encrypted connection. Connect to routers that can use uh, WGAP2 security. It is totally fool proof, but it is much better than nothing. So let's see in a basic way that how to prevent the man in the middle attack. First, you should connect the joint secured Wi-Fi only. Connect to the HTTPS connections. Employ DNS or over HTTPS connection and add a VPN to encrypt a traffic. Utilize a password manager. Use a multi-factor authentication. Follow the zero trust principles. Monitor your network activity that may prevent you from the man in the middle attack. So next we'll see a password attack. So in this presentation, this is our second type of cyber attack, and this is password attack. A password attack refers to any of the various of methods used to um, maliciously authenticate into password protected accounts. These attacks are typically facilitated to the user of password that are expected cracking or guessing the passwords. So we can see that it is in password back here. So what is introduction to password attacks? Passwords are access to verify the tool of choice for most people. So figuring out the target's password in an attractive proposition for an hacker, this can be done using a few different methods of tech keeping. Often people keep copies of the password or pieces of paper or sticky notes around the desk. An attacker can either find the password themselves or pay someone on the inside to get in for them. In for them. An attacker may also try to interrupt framework transmissions to grab passwords not encrypted by the network. They can also use the social engineering, which conveys the target to input their password to solve a important problem. In the other cases, the attacker can simply guess the user password, particularly if they use a default password or one that is easy to remember, such as 1234567. This password should not be created by anyone. This may cause to main password hacking. So many of them are keeping such passwords at 1234567. So what are the types we have password attack among hackers? Covered password attackers are the first one is brute force, uh, second one is credential stuffing, and third one is password spray. First, we'll see what is brute force. Attackers also often use brute force methods to guess passwords. A brute force password hacks uses basic information about the individual or the job title to try to guess the passwords. For example, the name, birth date, anniversary, or other personal, but easy to discard details that can be used in different combinations to decipher their password. Information that users put in social media can also be leveraged and beautiful password hack. What the individual does for fun, specific hobbies, names of pets or names of children, or sometimes used to form passwords, making them relatively easy to guess for good first attacks. And hacker also use the dictionary attack to ascertain as a user password. A dictionary attack is a technique that uses most common words and phrases such as those listed in a dictionary to try and guess target passwords. An effective method of preventing brute force and dictionary passwords attacks is to set up a lookout policy that blocks the access to devices, websites, or application automatically. After a certain number of failed attempts, which lockout policy, the attacker only has a few tries before they got banned from the access. If you haven't lookout policy in the place already and discover that account has been locked out because of too many login attempts, this is wise to change a password. And so the next thing is if an attacker systematically using brute force or directory attack to guess your password, that may take note of passwords that did not work. For example, if your password is your last name followed by your date of birth, year of birth, and the hacker tries putting the year of birth before the last name and the final attempt, that may get right on the next time. So this should be avoided. Credential suffering. What is credential suffering actually? A second very commonly used password attack is credential suffering attack, and which attack exploit the fact that most users have multiple accounts and tend to use the same username and password for each. Uh, Hackers attack websites known to have a weak security method to access the site account databases. When attackers successfully breach a site, that they will stolen credential as many sites as possible. So one of the best ways to prevent the credential suffering password attacks is using the third-party software that automatically assigns user a long and random password may may you can assure that password have not been used on other systems. So last one is password spray attack. This password spray attack is based on the idea that some passwords to be popular or and there are a lot of people who create passwords based on the name of their favorite sports teams because hackers know which passwords tends to be popular. They will try using those passwords against a large number of accounts. They do this slowly, even enough that they are usually able to avoid account logouts. In same ways, the account spray attack is essentially just an attack that has been based of guessing password. They attack the hackers are counting on the ideas that the people are inventably use passwords that are easy to guess. Again, the best way of countering these type of attacker is to either use a passwords or a part of multi-factor authentication system or to begin migrating to an authentication mechanism that is based on something other than the passwords. So thank you. With that, I'm closing my video presentation. Thank you.